Paris was as lively as ever, with bustling cafes and crowded streets, while Remy, the talented rat chef, continued to lead his double life. In the sewers, he and his rat clan worked tirelessly to find food, and above ground he orchestrated fine dishes in the kitchen of Gusteau's restaurant through his human friend Linguini. Everything seemed perfect until one fateful night. Unknown to anyone, deep in the heart of Paris, a secretive laboratory was conducting food science experiments aimed at revolutionizing French cuisine. The lab was developing a new type of genetically modified enzyme, designed to enhance flavors and make food taste better while preserving freshness for longer periods. The enzyme was still in its experimental stage, but it showed great promise. Unfortunately, during a routine inspection of the lab, a careless mistake occurred. A batch of the experimental enzyme spilled into the lab's ventilation system and contaminated a variety of food samples that were scheduled to be sent to high-end restaurants for testing. The food critic, known for always being ahead of culinary trends, was among the first to receive the tainted samples at a private tasting event. Eager to be at the forefront of the next big thing in French cuisine, he indulged in the food laced with the contaminated enzyme. At first, everything seemed normal. He praised the chef for the remarkable flavors, but hours after leaving the event, he began to feel strange. His body temperature rose and his muscles ached, his skin became pale, and his mind clouded with uncontrollable aggression. Within a day, the food critic had fully transformed. His once refined demeanor gave way to a mindless, ravenous state. The virus, triggered by the genetically altered enzyme, took over his body, turning him into the first zombie. Driven by hunger, he wandered the streets of Paris, infecting those he encountered. His bites transferred the virus, rapidly spreading the infection from person to person. The infection affected the brain, causing aggression, loss of self-control, and an insatiable hunger. The virus, now airborne in certain areas, could also be transferred through food, creating a perfect storm of chaos in the city. As the infected food made its way into Paris's famous markets and restaurants, the virus spread further. Unknowingly, chefs used the tainted ingredients to prepare meals, and patrons who ate those dishes became the next victims of the outbreak. In a matter of days, Paris began to crumble under the weight of the infection. The streets were filled with the sound of panic, and the city, once known for its beauty and charm, quickly became a battleground for survival. Remy noticed the first signs of trouble when the restaurant started receiving fewer patrons. He overheard snippets of human conversation about strange behavior and attacks in the streets. But it wasn't until one evening when a diner collapsed during service, turning into a zombie in front of shocked onlookers, that the danger became real. The infection was spreading. In a matter of days, the virus ravaged Paris. Zombies roamed the streets, attacking anyone they came across. For Remy and his rat clan, the sewers were no longer safe either. Some of the rats, scavenging from discarded food in the streets, started showing the same symptoms of the infection: aggression, loss of control, and a hunger that couldn't be satisfied. Panic spread through the rat colony as infected rats turned on their own kind. Remy quickly realized that the situation was far worse than he had imagined. Both humans and rats were at risk, and if he didn't do something, everything he loved about Paris, the food, the culture, and the life he had built, would be lost. He gathered his rat friends and took them deeper into the sewers, hoping to find a safe haven. They scavenged cautiously, avoiding infected food and staying clear of the surface. But food was running out, and soon they would have to venture above ground. Meanwhile, Linguini and Colette, with the restaurant staff, had fortified Gusteau's into a safe haven. They used the kitchen tools and barricaded the windows and doors. As the streets filled with zombies, they realized that food would become scarce. Gusteau's, once known for its fine dining, became a stronghold for the survivors. One night, as Remy ventured up to the restaurant, desperate for food and supplies, he discovered that Linguini and Colette were still there. He knew that if anyone could help find a way to stop the infection, it would be them. But even as he navigated through the kitchen, he began to notice something strange. Certain foods, those made with particular herbs and spices, seemed to slow the symptoms of infected rats. When Remy experimented further, feeding these ingredients to sick rats, they began to show signs of recovery. Remy's mind raced. Could the solution to the zombie virus be hidden in food? He wasted no time and started gathering ingredients from the remaining markets, even as the streets were crawling with danger. The rats, agile and resourceful, began foraging for specific herbs, spices, and vegetables. Slowly, Remy started perfecting a recipe, an antidote of sorts made from natural ingredients that could temporarily fend off the infection. As he refined the antidote, Remy realized that it wasn't just a stopgap. Certain ingredients, when combined just right, could stop the virus completely. The cure existed. It was just a matter of finding the perfect combination. He needed more rare ingredients, though, and time was running out. Remy knew he couldn't do this alone. He sneaked into the restaurant one night, signaling to Linguini for help. Soon, they formed a partnership, working in secret. Remy continued to refine the cure with his rat clan, while Linguini and Colette cooked and distributed the antidote meals to survivors hidden across Paris. They used whatever they had: market stalls, food trucks, and even abandoned kitchens to create and distribute the meals. But the infection was spreading faster than they could keep up. Entire districts of Paris were overrun, and even the fortified restaurant was on the verge of being breached. Remy knew he had to act quickly. He discovered through his research that a rare truffle found outside Paris, combined with the ingredients in his antidote, could neutralize the virus completely. Remy and his most trusted rats embarked on a dangerous mission, sneaking out of the city to find the truffle. Meanwhile, Linguini and Colette led the human resistance, fortifying key areas of the city and securing the remaining survivors. It was a race against time. Remy and his rats faced numerous dangers on their journey. Infected animals, rogue zombies, and other obstacles slowed their progress, but they persevered. After what felt like days, they finally located the rare truffle and returned to Paris, determined to create the final antidote. Back at the restaurant, Remy and Linguini worked tirelessly to prepare large batches of the antidote meal. With the help of the remaining survivors, they distributed it across the city. The rats, nimble and quick, delivered the cure to infected rats, while humans took it to infected people. Large-scale kitchens were set up, and even makeshift cure bombs were deployed in the most heavily infected areas, spreading the antidote far and wide. Slowly but surely, the infection began to subside. Zombies that had once terrorized the streets of Paris started to show signs of recovery. The antidote worked. The rats were also saved, their symptoms disappearing after receiving the cure. As the city began to stabilize, the French government, alerted to the situation by the survivors, declared a state of quarantine. Infected areas were sealed off, and only those who had received the cure were allowed in to help with the cleanup operation. Military forces, aided by survivors, pushed back the remaining zombies, administering the cure and securing the streets. In the end, Paris was saved, but it wasn't without its scars. The outbreak had taken its toll, but the city's spirit remained. Remy and his clan returned to their underground homes, knowing they had played a crucial role in saving both humans and rats from disaster. The restaurant Gusteau's was restored, but it was no longer just a place of fine dining. It became a symbol of hope and cooperation between humans and rats. In recognition of their role in the city's survival, the government agreed to allow the rats to continue living freely in the city's underground, as long as they helped keep Paris clean and safe. Remy, Linguini, and Colette resumed their lives, but the experience had changed them. They knew that no matter what challenges the future held, they could overcome them as long as they worked together. Paris, the city of lights, love, and cuisine, had survived a nightmare, thanks to the unlikely partnership between a rat and a human.